first question that you have for the day is this. This is an MCQ question. And the question says the following. Which of the following statement is true? And you are given 4 statements before you. Better the first one is, in a two good case, if one good is inferior, other must be normal. Okay. The second statement is, both goods can be inferior. Then the third statement is, both goods can be given. And fourth statement is, both good must be normal goods. So take a minute, answer this question, and then I will answer it. Very good, Shruti. Good, Shaurya. Good, Harshada. Good. Good, Aparna. Very good. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So all of you are saying that the correct answer to this question should be A. It is absolutely correct that the answer should be A. Kyun beta? Dekh lo ek bari zara. See, when I say, and we have discussed this, so let's say that we have two goods. So my income will be Px into X plus Py into Y is equal to M. Beta, this is my budget line. Right? This is my budget line. So just think. See, when suppose I tell you price of good X decreases, and I tell you that X is an inferior good, or X is a given good. Suppose I tell you X is a given good. So when I tell you beta that X is a given good and price of good X is decreasing, suppose, this means that you will decrease the consumption of good X. But you want to be on the budget line, na? So if you want to be on the budget line, and if one is a given good and you have reduced your expenditure on that good, तो बेटा इस equation को satisfy करने के लिए दूसरे की consumption बढ़नी जरूरी है. The consumption of the other good must increase. So when price of one good decreases, it means your real income is increasing. When your real income is increasing, you're increasing the consumption of the other good now. So that is a normal good. Same you can consider in other way also. So let's say that income of the consumer is increasing. So beta, if X is an inferior good, you will decrease the consumption of X. So अगर Y की consumption भी decrease कर दोगे, then you will no more be on your budget line. But you have to be always there on your budget line. So the only thing that you can do in that case is that when you decrease the consumption of X, if you want to be on the budget line, you must increase the consumption of Y. So Y must be a normal good. When income increases, the demand for Y should increase. So दो goods एक साथ बेटा inferior नहीं हो सकते. एक inferior होगा तो दूसरे को normal होना जरूरी है. The other must be normal. Okay, correct. Let us go to the next question. Again, I am giving you 5 minutes to solve this question. Everybody start solving it. So you are given that the utility function of the consumer is this. ln x plus m. ये utility function दिया हुआ है. अच्छा, this is also an MCQ question. Because I have added all types of question. ये MCQ है, हाँ? So beta, you are given that the utility function is ln x plus m. You are given that the price of good X is P and price of good M is unity. M is all other goods. Okay, M is numeraire good. And income of the consumer is Y. And you have to tell what will be indirect utility function. The condition given to you is that M should be greater than 1. Take a moment, try to solve this better. I'm giving you a minute, just try to solve this. Make sure that you consider every aspect. It is given that M is greater than 1 and you must calculate indirect utility function. Anyone who has been able to do this till now? Beta, this is your utility function. Try to find out the MRS in this case. It will be MUX by MUY. Y नहीं है, यहाँ पे दूसरा गुड को M बोल रहे हैं. When you differentiate it with respect to X, you will get 1 by X. When you differentiate with respect to M, you will get 1. So beta, your MRS will be 1 by X. You have to equate your MRS to the price ratio. Beta, it is given that price of good X is P and price of good M is 1. So your price ratio will be P by 1 and it will be equal to MRS. So यहाँ से beta X will be 1 by P. This is the value of X that you have got. So can you tell me what will be your budget line? Budget line was amount spent on good X, amount spent on M equal to income of the consumer. ध्यान से देखना है, यहाँ पर कंफ्यूज करने के लिए इनकम को Y बोला गया है and other goods को M. So you have to be very careful while solving this. Okay, good Shaurya, you're right. The answer should be B. Okay, let's solve this. Okay, so this is beta, this is what your budget line will be. From your budget line, can you tell me price of good X was P and beta X star has come as 1 by P. So this will be plus PM into M is equal to Y. So beta M star क्या आ जाएगा? अच्छा, PM की value दी हुई है 1. So I can just put 1 here. So what will be your M star? Y minus 1. So your equilibrium says, equilibrium क्या आया है? That you will be consuming X star as 1 by P and M star will be Y minus 1. But just remember, beta, you can consume this good only in positive quantities. So you can consume this good only when your income is greater than equal to 1. अगर income 1 से ऊपर रहेगी, सिर्फ तब आप M star Y minus 1 consume कर सकते हो. Now beta, we must calculate the indirect utility. So your utility function was ln X plus M. I have got X as 1 by P. So it will be ln 1 by P and I've got M as Y minus 1. So this is what my utility function will be. Now this is not, if this is not given anywhere, so the other thing that you can do is also try to open this up. So you will get this as ln 1 minus ln P plus Y minus 1. ऐसे open भी कर सकते हो. You can try to open this up also. No beta, this is not the case of perfect substitutes. This is a case of quasi-linear preferences, na? ये देखो, this is non-linear and this is linear. So this is a case of quasi-linear preferences. This is not a case of substitutes, no. Okay. So actually my answer should be this. I don't see ln 1 anywhere actually. I should have plugged in ln 1 also. So this should be your answer. It should be this. This will be your indirect utility. बहुत simple था. This is a quasi-linear function. My utility function is ln X plus M. So you go ahead and you find MRS. This will be your MRS. You equate MRS to your price ratio. And when you equate MRS to price ratio, you will get this. Finally, you go ahead and you just put it in your budget line and you will get this. Yes, you're correct, beta. That's also correct that ln 1 will be 0. So you can go ahead and have this. Absolutely. So it will be y minus ln p minus 1. Correct, correct. Yes. Correct. Okay, so this will be the answer to this question. Okay, beta, come to the third question. I am giving you again some time to solve this question. It's a NAT based question. So this will come for a 2 marks question. Try to solve this yourself first, then I will do this. So read the question, beta. It says, Mr. X is planning world trip on which he plans to spend 10,000. The utility function given to you is ln y, where y is the amount spent. The maximum premium he would be willing to pay if there is 25% probability of losing 1,000 on the trip. So the maximum amount he can lose is 1,000, and he can only lose this amount, beta, with 25% probability. You need to go ahead and you need to tell us the maximum premium he would be willing to pay. Just try to solve this. Others also try to answer, please. I want you to be good enough in entire consumer theory now. We are done with consumer theory. It's time to practice as many questions as possible. Beta, I'm giving you a hint now. He will be willing to pay a premium such that his expected utility from buying insurance is at least as much as expected utility from no insurance. अब करके देखो. If there is no insurance, then there is a 25% chance that he will lose money. So he will lose 1,000. And there is 75% chance he will not lose money. So beta, his money will be intact. So what will be his wealth? 25 by 100 into 9,000 plus 75 by 100 into 10,000. Calculate his wealth, beta. Jaldi se. Calculate his wealth, then his expected utility. Beta, this will be 2250 and this will be 7500. Correct. This will be 9750. So his wealth, when he does not go ahead and when he does not buy insurance, beta, his wealth is going to be 9750. So what will be his expected utility in that case? His expected utility will be utility from this 9750. Na? So his utility from buying insurance, that is going to be utility from not buying insurance will be utility from this. So utility function is given as ln y. So ho jayega beta ln 9750. ln 9750. Acha, what if he buys insurance? Beta, if he buys insurance, तो क्या होगा? Then there is loss तो भी हो सकता है. So there is a 25% chance that there will be loss. If there is loss, then beta, his wealth will be, it was 10,000. There will be a loss of 1,000. But he will get back his loss if he pays a premium of sale. And then there is 75% chance there will be no loss. If there is no loss, then beta his wealth was 10,000. कुछ भी नहीं गवाया उसने, but he still has to pay a premium of F. So in this case, when you go ahead and you calculate, तो beta ये हो जाएगा 25/100 ln 10,000 minus F plus 75/100 ln 10,000 minus F. तो ये सीधा सीधा आ जाएगा ln 10,000 minus F. That is what you will get. This will simply give you ln 10,000 minus F. And if you remember in class, we did this, that you will always end up with the same money when you take insurance. Insurance का काम ही है to bring you to the same state. So your net wealth will be the same if you take insurance, है ना? Because you are getting full coverage there. You have got coverage. So this will be your wealth utility from insurance. This will be your utility from not taking insurance. अब क्या करना है? When will you take insurance? When ln, this is not insurance, when this is greater than equal to ln 9750. Right? So you will get, so F minus 9750. So the maximum value that you can get here, that will be 250. So try to see things. The aim is to go ahead and understand what will be the value of your premium. What is the maximum premium you are willing to pay such that your expected utility under the two situations is equal. We just want to find that value. Okay, come to the next question, beta. This is an MSQ question. Again, I am giving you 5 minutes to solve this. Take your time, please try to solve this. This is MSQ. So more than one option is correct. I want you to mark all those options for me. Just go ahead and do this. Consider an individual who consumes three goods X1, X2, X3. It says X2 and X3 are cheap and expensive restaurant meals. मतलब एक ही तरीके का गुड है, बस दो different prices पे वो गुड है तो restaurant meal ही, but one is expensive and one is cheap. But it is given P2 is K times P3 where K is less than 1. Tell me which of the following is true. X2 and X3 can be treated as composite commodity. X2 and X3 are subject to transformation cost, transaction cost of T per unit, and if T is 0, price ratio goes to K. As transaction cost increases, relative price become equal. If T increases, consumer will choose less expensive good. Again, I am giving you 5 minutes, solve this. Don't think questions will come in direct language. You have to learn to read and interpret different type of questions. Okay, B and D, good. Others? But it is MSQ. You will have more than one correct. So only D should not be the answer. Let me solve this for you. So the correct answer is A, B, and C. Let me show you how the question is to be interpreted. Dhyan se samajhna. Try to understand that I am given that. So imagine the budget line. Budget line is going to be P1 X1 plus P2 X2 plus P3X3 is equal to income. This is my budget plan. ठीक है बेटा? It is given to me that P2 is K times P3. ये दिया हुआ है. So can I rewrite this as P1 X1 plus P2 is K times P3 na? So K P3 X2 plus P3 X3 is equal to income. So I will get P1 X1 plus I can take P3 common. K X2 plus X3 is equal to income. So बेटा सपोज अब ध्यान से देखो मैं क्या बोलने लगी हूँ, बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सपोज I go ahead and I tell you that this is the money, this is the quantity of my restaurant meal. तो इससे तो फर्क नहीं पड़ता ना कि रेस्टोरेंट मील में एक्सपेंसिव ले रही हूँ या चीप ले रही हूँ. Does not matter. It has told me, they have told that these are cheap and expensive restaurant meals. These are just meals. खाना ही है रेस्टोरेंट का. One time it is a cheap restaurant meal and one time it is an expensive restaurant meal. So beta, I can go ahead and I can say that this is some other good. ये good शायद पेट्रोल भी हो सकता था, ट्रांसपोर्ट भी हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, क्लोथिंग भी हो सकता है. This is one type of good. And this is just the other type of good, which is my restaurant meal, and to which I have attached a price P3. So because I am going ahead and consuming them together, this is just composite meal. This is like one meal that I have, one good that I have, whose price is actually P3. P2 तो गायब हो गया ना equation से. So there is just one price attached to this. So these two can actually act as a composite good. Composite मतलब हम इनको combine कर सकते हैं, that both of them just represent the restaurant meal. So in that sense, the first statement that X2 and X3 can be treated as composite good is in fact correct. ये एकदम ठीक statement है. But come to the next question. If X2 and X3 are subject to transaction cost of T, अब दोनों पे ही मैंने एक transaction cost लगा दी है T की. So if I apply a transaction cost, then the new price of good 2 will be P2 plus T. The new price of good 3 will be P3 plus T. Now it is telling me what will be the price ratio between the two. So beta, if I find the price ratio P2 by P3, this will be P2 new price ratio. It will be P2 plus T by P3 plus T. यही तो new price ratio हो जाएगा, right? But I know that P2 that was given to me, it was simply K times P3, right? So we know that the P2 given to me was K times P3. So does it matter that what the transaction cost is going to be? Because now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just apply this to both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and say that P2 dash, if I were to apply this, should be P3 dash plus T. So this should be K P3 dash plus K into T. Because now I am going ahead and I am saying that I am just changing P3 to P3 dash plus T. So in that sense, I can just say that this is nothing but P2 dash can be written as K P3 dash plus KT plus T upon P3 plus T. This is what can be written. This is what the new price ratio will be. So when I go ahead and I find out the new price ratio, this will be just without dash. This will be my new price ratio. And you can just go ahead and you can just take this. So if I take K common, this will be P3 plus T upon P3 plus T upon P3 plus T. So even this can be cancelled. And this will be K plus T upon P3 plus T. So beta, this will be your new relative price ratio. Try to understand the question. The question is saying that what will happen when you go ahead and you change and you add a transaction cost to each of your prices, right? Now, let us try to think in one more way if possible. Supposedly, the next part says what happens when you will have a transaction cost that will increase. What will happen to the price of the two ratios? So transaction cost increasing means what happens as your t tends to infinity. ऐसा कुछ case. So beta, can I say that this will be k plus, I'm going to divide this throughout by t. So this will be 1 upon p3 by t plus 1. And I want to tend its limit as t tends to infinity. I am taking as high transaction cost as possible. I want to check what happens when the transaction cost is very high. So k is just a constant, k will come out and you will get 1 upon p3 by infinity plus 1. Anything by infinity is 0. So this will be k plus 1. So this is going to be the ratio between the two prices when you will have a transaction cost which will be very, very high. So very high transaction cost will give you the price ratio to be k plus 1. Now, look at the last part. This says if t increases, consumer will be choosing the less expensive good. So we saw that as t increases, the ratio between the two prices is coming as k plus 1. This does not give me any information about what will happen to the combination that the consumer consumes. It's like this. Suppose you're buying one burger from McDonald's. And let's say that you're buying the second burger from a very big cafe, let's say Big Chill. This gives a burger for 25 and this gives a burger for 120. But now I go ahead and I tell you that there is a transaction cost on each burger. Does this mean that you will be going towards the more expensive burger or less expensive burger? We cannot intuitively answer that question unless I go ahead and unless I find out how that x changes as p changes. I am not given any utility function. I don't know how x will react as t changes. So I cannot go ahead and I cannot give a justification just like that what will happen. Many people say that if t increases, consumer will choose the expensive good because they say that the transaction cost will make the other good also expensive. But that makes no sense now because transaction cost दोनों पे ही लग रही है तो दोनों ही goods relatively expensive हो रहे हैं तो उससे क्वालिटी का क्या रिलेशन उससे इससे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा कि मैं कौन से क्वालिटी के लिए जाऊं मैकडॉनल्ड्स के लिए या बिग चिल के लिए So in that sense, I cannot comment on which good will now be consumed after there is a transaction cost. So let us try to think about the four options now in this case. So it says, beta, these two will act as composite good. That is correct. They are acting as composite good. If x2 and x3 are subject to transaction cost and t is 0, price ratio goes to k. So t tends to 0 भी एक बारी करके देख लो यहाँ पे. So So beta, if t is 0, यहाँ पे एक बारी t 0 कर लेते हैं. So this is my price ratio that I have found out. And when t is 0, then I will have this as 0 upon p3 plus 0. So this will be k. This is also correct. The price ratio that I found out, it was k plus t upon p3 plus t. So when t is 0, my price ratio will simply be k. That's correct. So this is the correct statement. B is correct. As transaction cost increases, relative price become equal. No. They are not becoming equal. The relative prices was coming as k plus 1 in that case. So they are not equal. That is incorrect. And as t increases, consumer will choose less expensive good. We cannot comment. So we don't know. Because these are the kind of questions that can come in your IIT exam. Don't think what you will study will come. I just framed this randomly, but this is the kind of question that you will see in your exam. So I'm trying to make sure that I reword what we have done in class so that you don't mug up on things. रट्टा नहीं लगाना है, दिमाग लगा के सोचना है कि क्या ठीक होगा और क्या नहीं होगा. Please. Okay, beta, option B. So what we did is, beta, we found out the price ratio, है ना? So this price ratio that we have got, beta, this price ratio was coming this. P2 dash by P3 dash, this price ratio, na, it was coming as K plus T upon P3 plus T. Okay. Beta, the question is asking what happens when the transaction cost is 0. So if I just put T as 0, तो ये क्या हो जाएगा? K plus 0 upon P3 plus 0. तो this will simply be K. इससे भी आसान तरीका है समझने का. Go above. Beta, you are given that P2 is K times P3. जब transaction cost नहीं थी, so P2 was K times P3. अब ये बोल रहे transaction cost goes towards 0. मतलब transaction cost नहीं है. अगर ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट नहीं है तो बेटा इन दोनों के बीच का जो प्राइस रेशियो है वो तो के ही रहेगा ना. P2 by P3 तो के ही रहेगा. इट विल नॉट चेंज ना. सो दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट वी हैव टू आंसर. दिस इज जस्ट रीवर्डिंग. कुछ कुछ एक्स्ट्रा ऐड करके उसको जीरो कर दिया. ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट के बारे में पहले बताया, फिर उसी को जीरो कर दिया. तो बेटा ये तो इनिशियल केस ही तो हो गया व्हेन देयर वाज नो ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट. सो इन दोनों का रेशियो के ही तो है. सो आंसर वुड बी बी इज करेक्ट. The transaction cost is 0. Okay. Okay. Come to the next question. This is also MSQ. Please try to solve this. So you're given Terry's utility function is y plus ly. L is leisure. Y is other goods. And price of other good is 1. मतलब price of y 1 दिया है. Okay. And you're given that total number of hours is 24. क्योंकि leisure involve हो गया ना, तो total number of hours की बात होगी हमेशा. It says, which of the following statement is true? Take your time, try to do this. It's an MSQ question. In MSQ, you will only get marks if you answer all the questions, all the options correctly. Just try to do this. Always think whether you can go ahead and maybe apply your same MRS is equal to price ratio and solve. सबसे आसान तरीका वही है solve करने का. Very good, beta. The answer is correct. Others, try to do it. Your utility function is given as y plus ly. Beta, what is marginal utility of leisure? It will be differentiate this with respect to L. क्या आएगा? Y. What is marginal utility of y? अच्छा इसको ना rewrite कर सकते हैं. 1 plus L into y. So when you differentiate this with respect to y, you will get 1 plus L. But what will be MRS between L and y? It will be y upon 1 plus L. What will be price ratio between L and y? समझो. Leisure जब आप enjoy करते हो, when you enjoy leisure, then you are not working. When you are not working, you are giving up on your income. So beta, the wages that you give up, those wages are your opportunity cost of leisure. So the price of leisure is W. And it is given that price of Y is 1. Price of other good is 1. So beta, you have 1 here. Now your equilibrium is where your MRS should be equal to the price ratio. So try and equate the two. What will you get? Y upon 1 plus L is equal to W. So you will get Y is equal to 1 plus L into W. This is what you will get. Now let us go ahead and try to take this forward. So your utility function, this is given to you as Y 1 plus L. ये utility function है, ठीक है? Think about this, that you have to go ahead and you have to find out the equilibrium labor and the equilibrium labor and the equilibrium consumption. So beta, can I go ahead and can I do this? That from this budget line, I am getting 1 plus L is equal to Y by W. So instead of 1 plus L, I can replace Y by W. Similarly, उल्टा भी कर सकते हो. That इधर से I understand that Y is nothing but 1 plus L into W. So instead of Y, I can write 1 plus L into W. So my utility function that I will get, it will be 1 plus L into W into 1 plus L. So beta, this will be 1 plus L whole square into W. ये आपका utility function है. Just maximize this utility function. So du by dl क्या आ जाएगा? 2 1 plus L into W equal to 0. This is what you will get. This is how you can find your utility. Now, if you notice, when you will go ahead and find the value here, you will find that in this case, my L is going ahead and L is, when you will equate this to 0 and you will find the value, you will find that your L is simply going ahead and it is coming as -1. So L is your leisure, it is coming as negative. So in this case, one thing that we are sure is that my leisure is not, of course, it is coming negative, but one thing that is sure is that it is not a function of the wage. So when you will go ahead and you will equate this to 0, you will get either W is 0 because the product is 0, no? Or 1 plus L is 0. So either W is 0 or L is -1. If I assume that my leisure cannot be negative, my hours cannot be negative, then this will mean that the only thing that is possible is that my wage rate should be 0. If I assume that leisure cannot be negative. In that case also, I am saying that my leisure is not getting dependent on the wage rate. Leisure is not coming as a function of wages. I am able to go ahead and get the exact value of leisure L star without being affected by the wage rate. So that is one way in which you can justify that leisure is not a function of the wage rate. ये एक तरीका हो सकता है जिससे आप इस चीज को justify करो, ठीक है? एक और चीज है जो आप कर सकते हो. So what you can go ahead and do is the following. You can go ahead and you can, but here you have found out your equilibrium condition, where by equating MRS to the price ratio, you can just write your budget line now. Actually, I've just done this, so you can just find out your budget line. So when you find out your budget line is what? Either you will have leisure. This leisure can only, either you will enjoy leisure or you will enjoy consumption. And this should be equal to your total working hour value. That means the other way of writing this is that my consumption that I am doing, but a consumption can only come from the hours I work. The hours I work is 24 hours minus the hours I enjoy leisure. So this is my working hours. And for each working hour, I go ahead and I enjoy a wage rate of W. So Y that I am getting from here will be 24 minus L into W. This will be my budget time. This is my indifference curve and budget line tangency condition. So one condition I'm getting from MRS equal to price ratio. Other is my budget line. I just have to go ahead and combine the two together. So from here, Y should be equal to this also and Y should be equal to this also. So this gives me that 1 plus L into W should be equal to 24 minus L into W. तो यहाँ से जो आपकी एग्जैक्ट L की वैल्यू आ जाएगी, you will get 24 minus 1 by 2, 23 by 2, which is 11.5. So you will get an exact L of 11.5. Again, showing it does not depend on the value of W, irrespective of what W is. Wage कुछ भी हो, wage तो हमने पूरे क्वेश्चन में इंट्रोड्यूस ही नहीं की. उसके बिना I know that I will be enjoying the leisure hours of 11.5. So therefore, I can say that no matter what the wage rate is, he will always have his own leisure hours. This is a correct statement. And we also found out the optima. First, we equated MRS to the price ratio. And after that, we put that in the budget line and we got the optima is 11.5. So we have also found out that the optima should be 11.5. अब एक आखिरी चीज समझो. Since your leisure is not a function of wage rate, leisure wage पे depend ही नहीं करता. Therefore, whether wage increases or wage decreases, your leisure will be unchanged. So beta, if your leisure will be unchanged, that means there is no substitution between leisure and labor. There is no income effect between leisure and labor because leisure is not getting affected by wage rate. So you can simply go ahead and see that this is also correct. There is no substitution and income effect available. So this answer is also correct. So the correct answer to this question should be A, C, and D. That only this is incorrect. 12.5 नहीं 11.5 आएगा, but we have proved that the leisure does not depend on the level of wage rate. Again, पूरा प्रोसेस सेम ही था जो हम हर यूटिलिटी फंक्शन में फॉलो करते हैं. I just found out the MRS equal to price ratio and I just equated in the budget line. For this, beta, please, if you want, you can refer to the lecture on labor market that is posted in your advanced videos only and try to solve that. How P of L is W? Yes, beta. So, देखो leisure का क्या cost हो सकता है? When you enjoy, suppose 1 hour of leisure, what are you doing? You are giving up on labor. आप काम नहीं कर रहे हो, तभी तो leisure enjoy कर रहे हो. So, whenever you work, you earn wages. So, when you give up on labor and you enjoy leisure, आपको उस घंटे की wage तो नहीं मिलेगी. So, the opportunity cost of leisure is wage. That is why instead of the price of leisure, I have kept the value as wage rate because the opportunity cost of leisure is W. ठीक है? Anything else? Any other question here? Okay, try to solve this question. Beta, question number 6. It's a NAT question. You're given the utility function as XY. You're given income is 72. Price of good Y is 1. And price of good X falls from 9 to 4. You should find the compensating variation. I'm giving you 5 minutes to solve this question. Just try this. We do this together. Anybody who has the answer for this one? बेटा compensating variation क्या था? You have this initial budget line when the price was 9 and you have found out your equilibrium. अब क्या हो रहा है बेटा? That the price is decreasing to 4. You have your new equilibrium somewhere here. कहीं तो new equilibrium है. Now, we are saying that if I choose, if I go by the new price ratio and I want to hold my utility constant at the initial level, beta, I am at point E double dash. So E double dash it represents the bundle such that your utility is constant, but you are at the new price ratio. Okay, beta? And E represent क्या कर रहा था? That you are at the old price ratio. अब क्या करना है? ध्यान से सोच के देखो. You need to go ahead and you need to find out compensating variation. माने you need to find out how much income should be taken away from the consumer. क्योंकि price गिर रहा है ना, तो he must give up on his income. So how much income should be taken away from the consumer such that his utility is intact, constant. So tell me something. What is his initial x star, y star? We can find it will be m by 2px. Y star will be m by 2py. ऐसे ही निकालोगे. So beta, when you go ahead and you do m by 2px, m by 2py, you will get x star as 4 and y star as 36. So ये जो initial bundle आएगा ना, this will be 4 and 36. Then beta, you can find utility from this. So when you go ahead and you find the utility from this, it will be x into y. That means 4 into 36, that means 144. अब ये जो न्यू बंडल है, मतलब इस पॉइंट पे जो बंडल हमने बोला, ये वाला जो बंडल है, बेटा this should also give you a utility of 144 and it is also tangent to the new budget line and new budget line represents new price ratio. मतलब बेटा ये जो E double dash है, ये क्या है? That the new price ratio should be equal to MRS. Remember, we have done both of these अच्छे से, compensating and equivalent. So I want the new price ratio to be equal to MRS. So beta, my new price ratio is 4 by 1. The price has decreased to 4. MRS is y by x because your utility function is xy. So beta, when you solve this, you will get y is equal to 4 times x. Put this back in your utility function. Your utility function is xy should be equal to 144. You have got this condition that y is 4 times x. So y की जगह पे 4 times x लगाओ and you will get x as 6 and y as 24. So your new bundle at new price ratio is 6,24. ये bundle हो गया बेटा यहाँ पर. This is 6,24. Both the bundles are giving you same level of utility. ये old price ratio पे, ये new price ratio पे. Go ahead and find the income required for the new bundle. So income required for new bundle will be x into price of x now plus y into price of y now. So you will require 48 rupees. तो पहले वाले बंडल को कंज्यूम करने के लिए 72 चाहिए थे. अब वाले बंडल को कंज्यूम करने के लिए 48 चाहिए और दोनों बंडल्स सेम लेवल ऑफ यूटिलिटी दे रहे हैं. तो बेटा, what is the amount of money you will give up? 24 ना? So 24 will be your compensating variation. Again, please revise the class of Studsky equation in which we did compensating variation and equivalent variation. Beta, this is important. ये इस बारी 150% IIT में आएगा ही आएगा. This is 150% coming in the exam. So you should be thorough with this concept. So therefore, this is going to be 24. Actually, minus 24 hona chahiye, but even if you write 24, you will get a score for it. Minus Q because you have to give away income. You have to give back income. The price is decreasing, right? So you should be able to get the same utility with lesser money. That's the answer to this question. Okay, beta. So now I am going to go ahead and do one last question with you now. And I'm going to give you 2 questions for homework and you have to do those and post your answers in the Telegram group. ठीक है बेटा, देखो एक बारी ध्यान से समझो जरा क्वेश्चन. You are given the following information. क्या क्या information दी हुई है? The price elasticity of cigarette is minus 0.5. Current price of cigarette is 0.05 and cigarettes are purchased at the rate of 10 million per year. Which of the following represents this information? कौन सा demand curve है जो ये तीनों information को अच्छे से represent कर रहा है? I give you 1 minute, try and solve this. It's an MCQ question. Anyone who has been able to do this? Chalo, let's do this together. So think about this. But any demand function can be of the form A minus B P. ठीक है? जो बेटा स्लोप होता है ना डिमांड फंक्शन का वो क्या हो गया? dq by dt, ये आ गई वैल्यू माइनस b. Can you tell me beta what is going to be elasticity? Elasticity is dq by dp into p by q. यही तो elasticity होता है. This elasticity is already given to you. So the elasticity, this is given to you as minus 0.5. So elasticity is given to you as minus 0.5. So बेटा ये हो गया dq by dp. प्राइस की वैल्यू दी हुई है. प्राइस क्या दिया हुआ है? 0.05. एंड q की वैल्यू क्या दी हुई है? This 10 million. So 10 million now. So this will be is equal to minus 0.5. So beta, can you tell me what this dq by dp will be? dq by dp क्या हो जाएगा? dq by dp will be minus 0.5 into 10 million upon 0.05. Just cancel this out into 100 by 10. So beta, you will get here this value with a negative sign. So ये जो dq by dp है ना, ये dq by dp की जगह पे ये वैल्यू आएगी. और dq by dp क्या था? यही, ये b वाली जो वैल्यू थी यही थी. So ideally speaking, you should get ये minus b जो आया है वो ये आया है. So ideally speaking, बेटा this can only be seen here. ये incorrect हो गया. And here ये भी incorrect हो गया. So I have first found out what my slope is. इतना निकल गया. अब the next thing that I must go ahead and I must do is I must find out the value of this a. ये a क्या होगा ये निकालना बाकी है. So how can I do that? So I can go ahead and I can say that the relationship is that quantity demanded is equal to a minus bp, right? बेटा you are given बाकी दो वैल्यूज भी तो दी हैं. अभी तक तो मैंने सिर्फ इलास्टिसिटी यूज की है, बाकी दो को भी यूज करते हैं. So you are given that when this is 10 million, this is 0.05. So I can go ahead and I can put 10 million here. B की जगह पे I will put this value. And P की जगह पे I will put 0.05. So when you will solve for A, you will get this as this. This will go on the other side, you will add it, you will get this. So that means better that this intercept, this should be this. So the correct answer to this question should be A. I hope this is clear to you. First of all, I tried finding out the slope. To find the slope, I was already given elasticity. From elasticity, it was easier for me to find the slope. So I went ahead and I found out the slope. वो स्लोप मैंने यहाँ पे रिप्लेस कर दिया. यहाँ पे B है स्लोप. B की जगह पे मैंने ये रिप्लेस कर दिया. Then बेटा I went ahead. अच्छा, नेगेटिव से कंफ्यूज नहीं होना. If you want, ideally you just want to find B. B को रिप्लेस कर दोगे तो एक ही बात है. वहां पे नेगेटिव के साथ हो जाएगा. The point is that you have to show a negative relationship. And the second thing is that once you put in QD and P and B that you have found out, you should be able to get A. So A or slope se you will be able to solve this. Okay, so I'm giving you this for homework beta. I will just post these 3 questions for you in the group and just try to solve all these 3 questions also. The first question that you should be trying to solve is this. You're given a utility function. I have just manipulated utility function a bit. Usually या तो फिर हमने ये utility function किया या ये. अब मैंने क्या किया, मैंने utility function को ऐसे लिख दिया है. So for this utility function, you have to tell me whether it satisfies diminishing MUs or not and diminishing MRS or not, and whether it satisfies monotonicity or not. So that's the first question I want you to do. It's an MSQ question. I want you to post your answers in the group. But there are 2 more questions that I would want you to do. One is this. This is an excellent question. I've just tried to frame it in as easy language as I could. I want each one of you to try this question and tell me kiska answer kya.